Starting in 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਨਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ 880 FM ਨੂੰ ਔਨਲਾਈਨ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਦੀ ਤਰੰਗਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ ਲਾਈਵ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੇਖ ਵੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਔਰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਸੁਣੋਗੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਢੋਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਧਮਕਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੁਣਨਗੀਆਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਵ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਲੀਕਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਦਾ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਹੈ ਉੱਥੇ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਦੀ ਕਲਾਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਢੋਲ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣਨ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਮਨਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇਸਤਕਬਾਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਜੀ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਮਹਿਫਿਲ-ਏ-ਮੌਸੀਕੀ। ਇਹ ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੀਤ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਗੀਤ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੀਆਂ ਕੁਛ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀਆਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੌਥਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਫਤਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਚੌਥਾ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਚੌਥਾ ਸਾਲ ਹੈ, ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ 4th ਐਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਅਤੇ ਮਲਟੀਮੀਡੀਆ ਟਰਸਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਹਫਤੇ ਨੂੰ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਵੀਕ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ 3 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ NZPMT ਮੀਨਸ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਮਲਟੀਮੀਡੀਆ ਟਰਸਟ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਾਲ ਹੈ 35 ਈਸਟ ਮਾਗੀ ਰੋਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ 5 ਵਜੇ 3 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ 5 ਵਜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੋਣਾ ਜੀ। ਪਰਮਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ 0214096222 ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਪਰ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਖਾਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮਹਿਫਿਲ-ਏ-ਮੌਸੀਕੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹੋਇਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ 'ਚ ਜੁੜਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਔਰ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਔਰ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਪਲੈਟਫਾਰਮਸ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ। ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵੀਕ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਪਰ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਾ ਕਰੀਏ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ 'ਚ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਨਾਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਤੇ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੋਵੇ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੌਕਸ ਬੇ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਗਿਸਬਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ, ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਰਡਿਥ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ। ਸੋ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਮਹਿਫਿਲ-ਏ-ਮੌਸੀਕੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Penji?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I think ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਈਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਾਈਕ, can you enable your mic please, so we can hear you after that.
Oh, okay. One moment. I have to get my technician.
I think you just have to join your audio, so
Okay,
you can hear us,
okay.
but we cannot hear until you join it. So ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਾਈਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਭੂਮਿਕਾ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਬੰਦ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਹਿਫਿਲ-ਏ-ਮੌਸੀਕੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਨੂੰ ਮਨਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਰਡਿਥ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਪਾਕੀਹਾ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕਈ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ 'ਚ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਭਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਖੂਬਸੂਰਤ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਹੈ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਲਚਰ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਨੇ, ਅਤੇ ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੀਏ। ਭੈਣ ਜੀ, you want to give it a try if you can?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, can you hear me now?
I just somehow not able to hear you.
Okay.
Have you enabled your audios?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, mic and camera.
Okay, your volume is not coming through to this side.
Oh dear, that's not good.
Can you? ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਜੀ। We cannot hear you, Penji, but I'm sure you can hear us.
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
somehow
I can hear you.
we can't hear you. So can you just try reconnecting to your reconnecting to this, and probably and enable your audio when you are connecting to the link.
Okay, ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਸੋ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵੀਕ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ 4 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਮੁਲਕ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਓਵਰਸੀਜ਼ ਆ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ, ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਿੰਤਿਤ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਈਏ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੀਚਾ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ 'ਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੰਗੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਤੇ ਚੰਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ, ਚੰਗੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ, ਚੰਗੇ ਸਕੂਲ, ਚੰਗਾ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਈਏ, ਪਾਥਵੇ ਦਈਏ। ਪਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਰਸਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਕਲਚਰ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹਿਣ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ, ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਰਜੀਹ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਵੇ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ, ਲਿਖਣੀ ਐਂਡ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨੀ, ਲਿਖਣੀ ਅਤੇ ਬੋਲਣੀ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਵੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਮੇਨ ਮੰਤਵ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਵਸਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਚੰਗਾ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਿਲਡਅਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਰੀਅਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਲਚਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਚੇ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹਿਣ। ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਇੱਥੇ ਬਾਹਰ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਨ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ। ਸੋ ਇਸੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਪਰਾਲੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਵੇ। ਉੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਉਪਰਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਸਕੂਲ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਅਦਾਰਿਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਖੋਲ੍ਹੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਲਾਸਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਉਣ ਲਈ, ਜਾਂ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਗਿੱਧਾ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਲਚਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਿਲੇਟਿਡ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਇਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਆਪਣੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਮੇਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜੀਏ। ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਡਾ ਮੇਨ ਮੋਟਿਵ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆਂ। ਸੋ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖਦਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀਕ ਬਣਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੈਰਿਡ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਔਨਲਾਈਨ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ, ਮੈਂ ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੁਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੀ। ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Can you hear me now?
ਭੈਣ ਜੀ, I'm trying my best कि I can hear you as well. Not in my headphone, but I can hear you from the speaker, so which is halfway through.
Okay, Tika. So we have a bit of a delay. That's okay. Tika.
Okay, can you hear me in the same time, or you are hearing me in delay?
I'm hearing you in the same time, in real time.
Okay, Penji, I just have to before we can proceed with the questions and further ਆਪਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰੀਏ, ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ say something in Punjabi, introduction of you or something. I know recently you have learned Punjabi as well, and you've been learning Punjabi from long time. So please introduce yourself in Punjabi.
ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ Gisborne, New Zealand ਤੋਂ ਹਾਂ।
What you do, Penji?
Pardon?
What you do? What you do in Gisborne? Like what you work, where you work, what you do for community, or?
Hanji. I am the ethnic community connector for Tarawhiti Multicultural Council. That role started in 2022. Prior to that, I am a qualified early childhood teacher. Unfortunately, I had a bad back injury in 2021-22, which meant I had to give up teaching, which devastated me. And I just trusted in the Guru that he would choose that this was just part of Hukum, and that something would come along. And then I was blessed to get this job for the Tarawhiti Multicultural Council. I'd been a volunteer for the Tarawhiti Multicultural Council since 2014. When I was teaching, I found I needed to, when we had children of other ethnicities that came into the centre, I wanted to know how best to support them when English wasn't their first language. So I became involved in Tarawhiti Multicultural Council. And my job now involves supporting all members of the ethnic community in regards to a vast range of sort of immigration, tenancy, and also to obviously doing events as well, which is a big, huge part of it, and COVID.
Okay. So tell me something about Penji, and to tell us, all the listeners and our audience on Facebook tonight, about your connection to the community, to the Sikh community, and how did you find this um, community, and how did you discover that this is a tradition, wearing turban, going to Gurdwara, reading Gurbani, all this whole scenario? How did you get hold of it, and how did you find out about it, and how it encouraged you to be something, to adopt this identity which you carry proudly on your head, and how did this whole process worked for you?
Firstly, I would say that the guru found me. Um, Growing up, we grew up as Anglicans, not necessarily particularly religious as in going to church often, but I have always believed in God and meditation. As a child, I also too had I would say, sort of knew things in regards to, I would see things and have feelings, and often when I was younger, I had visions, but I stopped it. And then one night when I was outside as an adult meditating under the arti, I remember having a beautiful vision of my feet, bare feet, walking on white marble, with a pattern, and there was a beautiful water, and I could hear this beautiful music. I didn't know what that was. Later, I met somebody who was actually Sikh, and they explained to me who they were, that they were from Punjab. I knew nothing about Punjab. I knew nothing about Sikhism, and I would have to say, sadly, in 2013, I didn't even know about the Guru, um, sadly. And so from there, he showed me a photograph
Yeah.
of Sri Harimandir Sahib. So that's how my journey started. So I consider it a true blessing.
Oh, very nice, beautiful story, Penji. And I've seen so this whole culture and the scenario you explained somehow sort of approached you in a way that you thought that this is what you want to be now onwards, and to join this beautiful family of Sikhi way of life in the world and be part of it. And then I've seen you, um, having the star on your head and going in the community and the diverse community, and I've seen you advocating about having this identity, having the star, speaking Punjabi, Gurmukhi, and culture and Sikhi way of life, advocating in the diverse communities in Auckland, oh, not in Auckland, sorry, in New Zealand, and at the same time uh, I'm at the same time representing community in the multicultural diaspora in New Zealand, and on various platforms I've seen you doing it. So what so in a way now you are very sort of a very important person, not important only but also a useful person for the community of a Sikh community, and at the same time the multicultural community, because you have learned you're like carrying a hybrid community, knowing about both cultures. So in a way telling Sikh community about how our representation is out there, and how we can work on our representation on a diverse platform, and at the same time teaching the diverse community or multicultural community or various communities about what exactly we are,
Haji, Haji.
knowing our insight of our culture and telling that people that this is what it is. So tell us something about that. How do you do that, and how you do it, and what sort of challenges you see, and how you overcome those challenges?
Whew, that's big. I think for a long time, before I found Sikhism and also to after, I didn't know where I fitted in my identity. And it's an unusual feeling being in a country but not knowing where you fit. And I think that in some ways has given me the strength to understand what it's like for people who are obviously Punjabi, from the Sikh community, but any ethnicity that come to Aotearoa to make it home, their home, the challenge of sustaining their culture, sustaining their language, and having children growing up in a Western world, and how they walk at home, hearing their mother tongue, going onto, say, school or early childhood centres and hearing English and making the connection between the two, but still standing proud in their own identity. And I think that for me has been a huge part of my journey, the understanding of what it feels like to sometimes feel alone and isolated. Particularly, I think a lot of people will look at me and stare. um, when I before I
Yeah.
became Amradati, it didn't happen so much, but now it does. Um, and it's nice when people. I like it when people come and ask me, why do I wear a dastar? Who am I? So that that builds awareness. And for me, if I can encourage anyone who is sick to still stand strong in their culture and their identity in New Zealand, that's a true blessing that the Guru has actually given me to be able to help people, but also too for other people
Yeah.
of the multicultural society to understand more about Sikhism. It works both ways.
Yeah. And tell something about what do you often get this kind of this kind of or a negative sort of response from the communities, or uh, s- a sort of a reaction from the community of or from the people you already knew before you joined the Sikh way of life, that they ask you questions, or give you like a negative response about what it is?
Hanji, that did happen to begin with. I think when anybody makes a change, and obviously becoming Amradadi, and there's the physical for people looking from the outside in at you, there's that physical change which can be confronting for some people. Um, but I kind of understood for them that it was because they didn't understand the change I had made, why I'd made it, and who I was, and that I still am the same person inside. I've always been somebody who has done seva. From a little child, I used to go and help the neighbours, the elderly neighbours, like bring in their firewood, cut their kindling wood, wash their cars. So I've always done seva. So for me, I haven't changed hugely. I have just grown into the person that the Guru has chosen me to be all along.
Very nice, beautiful, very inspirational to hear how you responded to this question. And I'm sure the people who are listening today will be inspired to see your passion and your compassion about representation of this beautiful culture. And you know what, grown up being a Sikh, born in a Sikh family, and taking this and adopting this Sikh way of life, just as been like inherited in inheritance. I've got Sikh way of life from my family. Doing that, I'm sure many people will have similar kind of opinion, that we take things for granted, like tying turban, matching with your shirt and all that, and we think it's just something which is just a normal thing for us, like tying a turban in the morning, going out and getting ready. It's a simple thing for us. It's not something which sometimes we forget the meaning behind it, why we tie a turban in the morning, why it is important. So when we look at you, or I want to know what it is for you to tie a turban in the morning and going out, what it is for you, why you tie a turban, what sort of thought process you follow, or is it something special for you, or you are now used to do it, it's a normal day-to-day thing for you, what it is?
For me, I think it's a beautiful form of meditation. That as I am tying my dastar, it's the gratitude every time as I'm folding and tying. It's showing gratitude to the guru for choosing this path for me. To begin with, there were a lot of tears because I felt I couldn't tie it properly. Because I learnt all by myself. Um, so, but I see that those challenges were put there for me by the guru so that I can grow stronger and continue in the path, and not to see them as bad. It is to see them as to help me grow in strength and to realize that yes, there are challenges. You overcome the challenges. The guru puts the challenges there for you. You overcome them to move forward, and that how I tie my dastar is the way that the guru has chosen me to tie it. Mm.
Beautiful. Very nice. So you said that you had this doubt that you don't know how to tie it properly in at some point, and to be honest with you, I have same doubt still now. I have been doing it since I was very young, and every time in the morning when I tie, I feel like, oh, it's not the way I should be doing. I could have done better. So it's an ongoing process, Benji, and the star which you are wearing it's beautiful, and it suits you very well. And tell something about learning Gurmukhi now. So that's the next. So this adopting Sikh way of life, language. Like when I came to New Zealand, adopting a little bit of Kiwi way of life, language was the main sort of thing for me to get adopt to this. I know I've studied English in school and came here, studied music in university here, but still language is something which is always there and somehow limits you to express yourself. Like I can try to express myself as good as I can, but still language is something, it's not like the first language or my mother tongue. I
Mm.
can express myself better in Gurmukhi, in Punjabi. So so language is always something which gives you like a open door to a culture. So if you learn some language, if you learn the language skills, if you learn English for now, let's say I learn how it is to be a New Zealander or a Kiwi in New Zealand. So same goes to you now. Do you think learning Gurmukhi, learning Punjabi now, since we are celebrating Punjabi Language Week, this question is must to ask. So do you think Punjabi language is something which is a hurdle for you, or it's difficult for you, or you are looking at it as your next step or something?
I look at that as it's a part of my journey. It's an important part of my journey. I wished I had found this path when I was younger, due to the fact that as the brain gets older, learning new languages can be a challenge. Um, I I find, like, to start with, obviously, I'm learning Gurmukhi, but it's a slow journey because a lot of everything I do is by myself. And I can say that, like, obviously there's a lot of Barney that's actually translated into English, but the transliterations can vary. And that's one thing I have found, that when I've been reading different, so on, because obviously there's apps or
Yeah.
different nitnim, and that's in English, that the transliteration of the guru's blissful words can sometimes be different. And that's the thing I've found, is I've gone back to focus on understanding the true meaning of what is said. And I ask so many questions to people. I will, um, Amritpal in Auckland, I message him all the time. What does this really mean? Because I think if you live in a place where there is a gurudwara, and there is you're able to go there, that does help learn. Unfortunately, at the moment, Gisborne hasn't got a gurudwara, although that is in the process of being made for our community, which would be huge. When you are a little bit disconnected, it can be difficult. But I don't say that it's impossible. It's a challenge, and I just remind myself that at Saab, I have to be patient. Everything will come when it's meant to come. But it's very important for me to learn, Hanji.
Yeah. Beautiful. G. So, yeah, tell something about you mentioned really nicely about Gurdwara Sahib, and tell about what do you think the role of Gurdwara Sahib like in India. Punjabi language is taught in schools and universities, similar to how English is taught here or other languages are taught here. And tell something about what do you think? What do you think about the role of Gurdwara Sahib in 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 country like New Zealand? So understanding the need of teaching Punjabi language, the role of Gurdwara Sahib overseas outside New Zealand, how it plays a part in sort of in teaching Punjabi to the community or to young kids or even adults, yeah, like you.
It's huge. It's it's like the key, and we know what it's like when you go into a gurudwara. There's that energy, the energy that you get from the sangat, the energy to be able to just go and bow, to listen to kirtan, and all of that gives you that sense of to me, it's a sense of belonging. So yes, to me, it is very, very vital to have, and for children to have the opportunity,
Beautiful.
particularly because, like you say, they live in New Zealand. Sometimes they might not have yet gone back to the motherland to bow. That this is their place, and it's making it the guru here in this place, in time and place in this country.
Thank you, Benji. Very good response. And you mentioned sense of belonging. So do you think to get this sense of belonging, and language is definitely a very useful tool to get the sense of belonging. If we know our mother tongue and we could deliver it to young kids, it brings sense of belonging to the community. So do you think the community needs a proper institutional way of delivering this Punjabi language, sort of transmitting it to young community? And
Um,
if it is a need, if you think it is, then what could be those institutional ways? What do you think?
um, that's obviously because I'm a little bit disconnected from Auckland, because I know that that's a very, very strong community and opportunities for language to be learnt. I do think it would be lovely if, because the Punjabi community is throughout Aotearoa, throughout New Zealand, that particularly places where there is community and there isn't gurudwaras, for the opportunity for people to be exposed, and for children, because, like I say, a lot of them here will go into an early childhood centre. They hear the mother tongue at home, they go to the centre, they hear English, and parents think, oh no, my child only replies to me in English. They don't speak back to me in Punjabi. But the key thing is for any child anywhere is that if they hear the language all the time, even if they respond back to the parents in English, they say around about the age of 7, they can distinguish between English and Punjabi, and to not give up, to just continue the mother tongue, because we see generations and generations, if it's not heard, it gets lost. An example would be, just going off track a little bit, my family is English and German. My mother never learnt German. Her mother could speak German, but they were here during World War II, and of course, to be German, it wasn't so good. So, of course, we stopped speaking German. So that's part of my life is gone. And like I say, I would just say to anyone, yes, if you can have the opportunity, and there is the opportunity to learn the language, it's absolutely important, but just to continue to speak the mother tongue. The more you hear it, the more it resonates in the heart for all children.
Do you think there is a need of a charter school or having Punjabi language as one of the elective language for students to choose in the school, and have it there in a curriculum, like part of the curriculum as an elective language? So if in the class there are 10 Punjabi students, they should get a chance to learn language in the schools, and along with the efforts, a lot of efforts in the community. And there is an effort is being placed to get a charter school. Hopefully we'll get it, as been promised by many leaders in the opposition party who are now ruling party. So hopefully. So what do you want to say about it?
I think if there's the opportunity for children to be able to learn it, through the school, through a charter school, through any school, I think it's extremely important. And that also, too, I would like to just say, it also too goes for any language, that children do have the opportunity to learn it. Because also too, I see that, like parents, family life can now be very busy. That it might not necessarily be resonated at home as much, but for it to be crossing over into the school is important, because then it becomes, in the home situation, but also too in a classroom situation in school. I would use the word loosely, say like more in a Western society as opposed to being at home. That if the language can be taught and children have that opportunity, I say that's wonderful.
Fantastic. That's good, Penji. I'm raising all these points for you because you're part of multicultural community in Hawke's Bay, and really good that you are aware about all these thought processes we are following within the community, and you are sort of in a place where you find yourself advocating all these. So at the same point, what would you like to tell our listeners and Facebook audience about the situation of Punjabi's Sikhs in Hawke's Bay? How it is practiced, Sikhi way of life is practiced? Like, is there any Gurdwara, or how you doing the seva with your multicultural council? Would you call it seva, what you do with the multicultural council, and what are you doing with the multicultural council exactly?
Okay,
Both
Mahati.
questions, like Punjabis and Sikhs and multicultural council.
Sorry, also too. Sorry, Manjit. I'd have to correct you. I'm in Gisborne, which there's Hawke's Bay, and Gisborne's 3 hours north of Hawke's Bay. So sorry about that. So, for us, the Sangat is very active, even though we don't have a Gurudwara here yet. It is a very collected Sangat that we actually do meet, and Sukhmani Sahib can be held at somebody's home, and when we are able to actually get Guru Granth Sahib Ji from Hawke's Bay or Te Puke. and the Bai and Grandi come for that, which is absolutely fantastic. And also, to the other big thing that we do in regards to the Multicultural Council is we've just recently had Diwali. We've had the Diwali celebrations. So we've the Sikh community were involved, and the Hindu community was involved. We had performers from southern India, the Malayalam community. So it was a big opportunity, and from the Fijian Indian community as well. So it was a huge celebration of bringing all of the Indian community together. And I can say from my perspective, being involved, is that to see the little children that last year were too afraid to perform on stage, to practice and to go on stage this year, brought like tears to my eyes, because I thought that's what it's about. People having, and children having the strength, the self confidence to get on stage, the pride in their cultural identity, and to have that confidence to be able to share it with others in the wider community. And also to it builds the resilience for them moving forward to know that this is who I am. I should be proud of who I am, and people out there want to know who I am. So like I say, for Gisborne, it's a small community. So like the Multicultural Council, we work with all of the communities, ethnic communities. Like obviously, so we are kind of like, a lot of us are integrated with one another. We attend different functions at people's homes, and we know the fact of that unity, that we are together.
Beautiful. That's very nice response. Yeah, you told in a way, you're telling that it's Gisborne. First of all, sorry about quoting Hawke's Bay again and again. We made your area of work a little bit bigger than you were trying to sort of narrow it down to Gisborne. But yeah, so from Gisborne, yes, that's right. And I would like to tell all the Facebook audience and Radio Spice listeners that I've been to Gisborne once because of Meredith Jasnoor Kaur. She invited me over there to represent Indian music. So I played a small performance with tabla and sitar. Shalu Garg from Auckland, she played sitar. And we did a small event for Multicultural Council. And beautiful audience, and people are very open, and they have huge interest for Indian music and culture, which I witnessed. And I hope in the future, as you and Baljit Singh, I would like to name this gentleman, Baljit Paji, who has been working hard to get Sangat Ikatti and do apna har hafte de hafte Gurdwara Sahib de ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਲ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਖੋਲ੍ਹਣ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਨਜ਼ਦੀਕ ਹੈ ਗਿਸਬਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਗਿਸਬਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜੁੜੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਸ ਐਫਰਟ ਨੂੰ ਚਲਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰੀਏ। ਤੇ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਆਪਣੀ ਜੋਰਾਂ ਸ਼ੋਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਈ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਨਿਭਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। And Penji, can you please tell something now about, this is the time, about your interest in music, classical music, and how did you discover this instrument called tabla, and how did you find it interesting? What exactly you like about it, and you started learning it? So tell something about that story of you playing tabla.
That's a big journey. I think it was the first time that the first time I actually heard Kirtan was at Sri Harimandir Sahib, and I remember walking around. The first time I'd ever been there after my vision was in 2016. Just like tears the whole time, of gratitude. And I just remember listening to Kirtan, and as you walked, and I just heard the tabla, and I thought I really would love to learn tabla. I didn't really know much about tabla, but there was something about it that just makes me want to learn. And also too, I mean, I'd love to learn harmonium. And the greatest gift I would love to be able to give back to the Guru one day is to be able to perform Kirtan. That would be one of my big, next to the Guru, to perform Kirtan. So I bought my tabla back in 2018. I was told, no, don't try and bring one back yourself, but I got it through customs and started to learn to play. A gentleman by the name Harpreet Singh from India, he was my first tabla teacher. Of course, language barrier, and of course, for me, the concept of Gege, Pita, Gege, Nana was totally new. And so that process happened. Then I sadly got an injury. So my practicing has been limited, although you will be actually very, very pleased to hear by that my hand is getting better and I am actually now practicing again. Only for 5 minutes, but I am now back practicing. But I just love it. I just really do love listening to Indian classical music, and there's something about it that just sparks inside me. Mm.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm sure this is learning classical music is one of the it's a process of lifetimes. And yeah, people say that I wish I would have started earlier, but whoever started earlier, they also say that I wish I had started a bit more earlier. So it's that kind of process. So what I tell to all the students is, including myself in that, when I say student, I'm considering myself in as a student, is that it's a journey, it's a process of learning. Tabla is something. It's not about reaching or becoming something. It's about the journey. It's about the whole process. When you learn music, you enjoy the process, you enjoy the journey, and whatever hiccups, whatever hurdles you face, despite of all that, there is some enjoyment, there is some sort of nectar in it which you have to get out of it, and then just follow that nectar which is in the classical music. And especially when we talk about kirtan, which is nectar of amrit of guru's gurbani, which is there. And we talk about singing kirtan, which is always about following that nectar, the amrit ras ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਚੋਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਤੇ at the same time playing tabla with the gurbani kirtan is again contributing to the whole process of praising guru and praising Vaheguru, and then at the same time following that nectar, following that amrit which is given by guru in the gurbani. And it's a lifelong process. It's never ever about reaching somewhere, as I understood. And my teachers told me that, for no, don't try to be ustad, because nobody can be ustad. It's the process. It's the process of students to learn music and follow it. So thank you for sparing time and sharing your valuable views and your valuable story, important story, interesting story, and inspiring story to all the listeners and Facebook audience. and especially on the occasion when we are celebrating Punjabi Language Week, when we are talking about our rights as being a minority community in the diverse communities of Aotearoa, and our right of sort of practicing our language rights, being a community of Punjabi language, who it itself has like multi dialects in it. It's a very diverse language, Punjabi language. And so we are celebrating this beautiful language and its culture. So thank you for joining us. And I've been telling and been talking about you with many community personals, and they've also been very inspired by you. Many youngsters are inspired by you and with your beautiful story, Penji. And thanks for sharing your views. And you want to say something before we call it off for tonight?
Hanji, I would like to say also too that you, Manjit, have continued to inspire me to play tabla, because obviously I got injured and then I wasn't playing tabla. Then I connected with you, and the first time I ever practiced in front of a person was you at your home earlier this year, and just how I was so nervous, but just how kind you were, and that true passion for helping, and helping me and continuing to inspire me. That's how I see the journey of learning Kirtan, learning the Punjabi language, learning Gurmukhi, that if we all help one another, we all have our strengths and we all help one another. Um, in my way, that's beautiful, a beautiful gift from the Guru that we can all share with one another rather than division or this person's better than me, or, to reduce the Maya and the ego, and to just focus on being humble as we are, helping one another grow.
Very beautiful message, and a very good sum up you already have done. So I won't dilute it. Thank you so much. And viewer, to all the audience, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀਰੋ ਤੇ ਭੈਣੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਮੈਰਿਡਿਥ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੌਕਸਬੇ ਤੋਂ ਨੇ, ਪਕੀਹਾ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ। ਤੇ ਪਕੀਹਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ, ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਪਰਸਨ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਬੀਬੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਬਨ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਊਜ਼ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤੇ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਸੁਣਿਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸੁਣੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਪੱਧਰ 'ਤੇ, ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪੱਧਰ 'ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾ ਲੜਾਈ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਨਾ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਹੈ, ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪੱਧਰ 'ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਜੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਜੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਪਨੀਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਇਨਹੈਰਿਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਾਈਏ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਸਕਣ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੋਲਣ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਮਾਣ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਨ। ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵੀਕ ਦਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਰਿਡਿਥ ਜਸਨੂਰ ਕੌਰ ਵੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਨੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਗਿਸਬਨ ਤੋਂ, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਸਰੋਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਫੇਸਬੁੱਕ ਤੇ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਰ ਹਫਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਅਸੀਂ ਥਰਸਡੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਹਿਫਿਲ-ਏ-ਮੌਸੀਕੀ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਜੀ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ 4th ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਵੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਫਰਾਈਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ 5 ਵਜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਸ਼ਮੂਲੀਅਤ ਭਰੋ ਜੀ। ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਸਪਾਈਸ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ।